So I'm like, I'm gonna go to the Philippines and meet all my employees. Well, while I was over there, I happened to meet my wife. She's not an employee, but yeah. So John is the reason why I met my wife. Had it not been for John, I would not have met my wife. So
Scott, Watkins, thank you for being here today. And Erika, thank you for joining us. Will you tell us what you do for Scott?
Thank you for having me. I'm Brumicon's operations manager for about a year now, and so far I'm really liking my job.
Okay, well, Scott, tell us what you do.
So Brumicon is, at its core, we're a software development company. We started out uh, 11 years ago or so, custom writing software for businesses.
When I looked up Brumicon online, there was something very specific that came along with it. And
Yes.
it was so unique and so different from, I guess, anyone that I've seen who uses OnlineJobs.ph. Can you tell us a little bit about that specialty?
Yeah. So yeah, back in 2018, a couple years ago, we had a big hurricane. Hurricane Michael came through the Panhandle, and it devastated all the small businesses in the area, including us. And of course, we had this huge staff of VAs, and we're like, well, what are we gonna do? So we made a decision uh, to make video games, and try to generate some revenue with that. Well, that turned out to be much more successful than we thought. We all liked doing it. It's like we all had fun doing it. It's like there's no need to go back to working for other people. Now we work for the player. So
You mentioned that Brumicon is an acronym. Tell us about that.
we first sat down and we talked about what our vision is, what's our goal. We decided that, what does our business do? And so we bring remarkable unity. That's what we do with people. We merge imagination and we create one network. So that's where the acronym bringing remarkable unity, merging imagination, creating one network. That is our vision and our mission statement.
What percentage of Brumicon is software development and what percentage is more toward that video game development?
Currently, I would say probably 80% right now. For the most part, most of us, that's what we do. We make video games. Everyone's involved in doing something video game related.
So how did you get started in that?
2008 or so is when we started Brumicon. It was just me and their guy. It was actually my ex-brother-in-law. And then in 2015, I bought out the entire company, and so became the sole owner. And from 2015 to 2018, with the help of my VAs, of course, we were able to target a lot of the small businesses. It was really kind of on a whim. We had done some work for a financial institution, and a lot of like that small businesses who needed software applications or mobile app, and that was our bread and butter until, of course, the hurricane. And then,
when did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
at first it was kind of like, what are we doing? Why are we making video games? What are we doing? But we were having fun, and I guess we pushed out a couple games that were, semi popular. But then Fresh Filipino Fruit, which I think has been I think, Erika, that's probably our number one game right now, right? Fresh Filipino
Yes.
Fruit. That had a huge response, especially with the Philippines. And the way it worked for us is we embedded ads, and we get paid between 1 and 5 cents per ad viewed, and we have tens of thousands of people playing the game. So that's kind of how that rolled into that. I was like, hey, we can make money with this and have fun at the same time. Why go back? So somewhere along the line, I don't know if there's a specific demarcation for that, but somewhere along the line, no one wanted to go back to doing what we were doing before. So we just kept doing it.
Is there something that makes you as a software company different from other companies?
What probably differentiates us is probably our people. We have all our Filipinos, and if you know anything about the Filipino VAs, it's an innate quality, something inside that they're just resilient, 100% positive. I was once speaking to someone. You'll never call tech support and speak to a Filipino IT support person and then get angry. No matter how angry you are with them, they'll never get angry back. They're always positive. Having a team that's their default thinking, that's what makes us better.
It's actually just what we are. I mean, if there's something you can do, you have to exceed the expectations of what your client or what your boss is expecting from you. So I think that's just what most of the Filipinos are when it comes to their work mindset.
Erika, is there something you particularly love about the work that you do? For those of you who can't see, Scott's pointing to himself.
I have the best boss in the world, so
Yes.
there's
More
nothing
than just our
to
paycheck.
not love when it comes to my job. Well, actually, it's the perks that made me love it. Since I get to work from home, I can take care of my kids at the same time while working. I can work at my own pace, and there's no dress code.
What makes Scott the best boss in the world?
This is my first VA job as in ever. So when he promoted me as his operations manager, he gave me the training that I needed. He always supports me with all my decisions when he feels it's right. Also, he's very understanding to all of us. If we need something or we are sick, he's always the first to offer us help, and that's really the attitude or the traits of him that really stood out for me.
I have a distinct advantage over everyone else. So first, my wife is a partner in the company, and we talk about the company all the time. And so a lot of times, what Erica sees coming from me really is my wife telling me, "Hey, I'm a Filipino. I understand. Like holidays. They're really big on holidays over there, and they have a whole bunch of holidays that we don't have here in the U.S. And I'm like, what is this right here? I don't understand this." And it's not all peaches and cream. Me and Eric have had a couple big arguments. That she just messages my wife, and my wife and her chit chat in their little Filipino language, and you know, and then it's all better. And so my wife's a great coach in the mirror. So it's not just me; it's really me and my wife. But I know
Yes.
Erica sees it from me a lot of times. But a lot of times, my wife is behind the scenes saying, "Hey, let's offer them the help. Let's do this." So
what do you really love about your job?
I make video games for a living. That's, I mean, that's, and I have crazy ideas. And that's some of the things me and Erica will say is, I'll say, can we do this? Can we do this? And in my mind, it's like, great. And she's like, mechanically, that's not physically possible. So we have those discussions. But just seeing people play our games, getting the feedback, getting the followers, the fans of, we're currently designing a game called Anino, which is a Filipino word for shadows. I think it's going to be really good. It's got a great story. Erica helped make a lot of the storyline for that. But just seeing people's feedback and feeling the energy, that feeds me. That makes me love my work.
And this is for Scott, why would you choose this over a 9-to-5 job? What makes it worth it to you?
And we're speaking honestly, 9-to-5 job, working for someone else, it's really a dead end. I mean, you can get promoted, you can get raises and so forth, but you'll never own your time. Someone else owns your time. And for me, um, you know, it's great when you first start your career, or you just graduate college, or you're trying to develop your skill sets. Working 9-to-5, that's great. I think we all started there. The end game is to live the life that I want, and to do the work that I love.
Do you have any other business philosophies?
I think the most important philosophy as a small business owner starting out is learning to connect with people, and that's Filipino VAs, or people you meet at the gas station, no matter what. If you're not a people person, you still can do it, although it definitely helps. But training yourself, every person you meet is someone that can have an impact in your business. Even if they don't buy from you or don't do anything, they may know someone down the road who wants to come work for you, or they might post something on their Facebook account. I think that is probably a very good, important thing to do.
Having genuine care for
Yes.
your employees and the people around you. And Erika, she mentioned earlier, if she's sick, you want to know, you're the first to say, what's going on? How can I help you and whatnot? I think that there's so much more to business when you remember that you're working with people, you're working for people, and there's so much power there.
Later on, I had written down, I like calling them team members, or, they're part of the family, and they really are. Sometimes a simple thing, like if Erica will tell you, a lot of our employees will have something small come up. It might be their headset broke, or the people next door have chickens and dogs, and so they need canceling headphones. So I send them a little extra money, and, buy something for them, and then they take a little bit out of their paycheck each week. And there's like a million different ways that to help them. I think taking care of them, you always get that back 100-fold, I think.
So tell us how you got started with outsourcing. Where did you learn about it?
So I think back in the day, we're going back a decade or more. I think it was Elance and Odesk, I think were the big ones back then when I first started outsourcing for things I needed. So using all of those platforms are pretty much how I got started in the hiring someone remote to do something we needed for us.
When did you find OnlineJobs.ph?
It was a Friday evening. I remember that because I was so frustrated the week. When you look at, and as a small business owner, I think every small business owner out there has at some point went to one of those types of places. First, communication is a real big thing. Fiverr and all the other ones, they want you to communicate only on their board because they want to control everything. But sometimes, you don't want to share a credit card number or social security number or a password, over some sort of communication network that who knows can see what. So a lot of times there's sensitive information that you don't readily want to share. And that's really impossible with those types of outsourcing platforms. Virtually every one of them is a kind of a transaction based. That's what I call transaction. The gig is what Fiverr calls it, where you're hiring someone to do a specific task, and it's not really a permanent relationship with them. And when that task ends, they may have other tasks lined up for other people. So then you're stuck trying to find someone else, and you can't really build that rapport. And the reason I think they do that is because they want that ongoing revenue of the transaction base. And then just like being expensive, I'll call Fiverr out because they're the big ones. For someone for a $5 gig, if I want a $5 service, Fiverr's gonna charge me $2 for that transaction, and then they're gonna deduct $1 from the person the VA who's doing that transaction. So that's $3 Fiverr made off of a $5 service. That's a 60% commission. That's why Fiverr is so big, because they're commissions like that. But that's $3 that I could give to the VA. And so I knew there had to be a better way. And so I remember the night quite clearly. I was searching, I think I typed in Google like hire permanent VA or something like that. And about the third or fourth one down, I saw online jobs and clicked on it, and went from there.
And I want to know, Erika, how did you find OnlineJobs.ph?
When in college, I was looking for a part-time job where I can do while I was at
Tell her what you
school.
went to school for, Erika.
I took aviation logistics
Right?
Yeah.
in college.
So imagine that interview.
Aviation statistics. This is just a taste of the versatility that you get when you employ in the Philippines,
Yes.
right?
That's exactly right. So
I was looking for a job, and then no one's contacting me, so I look for physical jobs like office here, but it's so exhausting. So when COVID came here, and then we have to lock down the whole country, most of the city. So I started looking again, and then Scott messaged me like, "Are you still interested with the PA job?" And on the spot, I got interviewed,
So
and I got hired the same day.
And the backstory to that was our previous operations manager, who's Angel, who'd worked 3-something years for us. Our previous administrative assistant, who kind of works for both of us, had left, and so we were looking to replace that. And we had interviewed Erika, and Angel really liked her, and so we hired. That's how that started. So she was hired as an admin assistant, and then I don't know what 3-4 months later, our previous operations manager had gotten pregnant and wanted to leave for that, which she left in great terms, and worked wonderful for us. But then I needed someone, and Erika fit the bill.
Erika, can you tell us what your job is like as an operations manager?
For my day-to-day task, since we are a digital company, so we produce assets every day. So I have to manage those, check if it's in right format, if it's in right size, and if if we can use that to what we are developing. And daily, we have our team meetings, sometimes individual, but usually it's a team call, uh,
In
to
Filipino,
delegate
not me.
tasks.
That's
Yeah,
she
in
speaks Filipino.
Filipino. I speak in Tagalog with my other teammates, so that we can understand each other more. So that uh, all all tasks will be delegated correctly. And I always update Scott with the progress of our project all the time.
Yeah.
So you have a ladder going on here,
Yeah.
where
We have a
Scott's
hierarchy.
outsourcing to you and you're outsourcing to the rest of the team, and then you've got a report
Yes,
system. So it really streamlines the
Very
whole
much so.
system there. That's
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
fantastic.
And if you know about Filipino, you know what a nosebleed is, correct? I'm assuming the nosebleed from the Filipinos is if you talk too much English to them, they say they get a nosebleed, meaning they're having too much problem translating in their head. So that's what they say is a nosebleed.
yes.
So Erica's job is to keep all the other people from, because I talk a lot, obviously. So she takes what I want and keeps them. Yeah, yeah,
So most
that's
of the time,
Perfect.
I I am the one who's got nosebleeds. Charing.
yeah. 'Cause
Sorry.
I'll just talk and talk, and she's like,
Kidding.
Okay, Poe. Okay, Poe."
And how much of your communication is done via email or Skype, chat?
We'll do team calls or team conferences. We have some group chats set up, but Erica's really the only one. I mean, yeah, I talk to her every day for a couple hours.
So how many total Filipino VAs do you employ? And like you said, you don't like to call them Filipino VAs. Tell me again what you prefer.
So every time we hire
Family.
somebody, Erica, what do we say?
Welcome to the family.
That's right, the Brumicon family.
Welcome
So
to the Brumicon.
yeah, we're like the Italian mob here. We have 12 right now, right, Erica?
Yeah.
Employees. Rain and Jeff, they do graphic design. Well, Rain does more characters and Jeff does more environment, I think. Um, we have a sound engineer, audio person makes audio for us. We have a server administrator. We have a person who does C# programming in Unity. That's the platform we use to make games. Is Unity? It's a platform. We have a PHP API. That's Michael. We have a marketing manager. Karen does our dedicated YouTube vlogger. So if you see her Brumicon channel, make sure to click on the subscribe button. She'd want me to tell you that. We have a social media manager. We have product tester and researcher. We have Jasmine. She's our administrative assistant who we hired after promoting Erica.
How many of your family members, mafia mob members, did you hire on OnlineJobs.ph of your
100%.
11? 100%. Okay.
Of
Tell
course.
us
Yeah.
about your process. Tell us how you find them, how you recruit them, and what your system is.
Does John still sell those $100 classes? I don't know. I think every person that starts, I think that should be like a prerequisite. They should watch that video.
Right now, we do have what's called the One VA Away Challenge, and you can go to onevaaway.com. And John takes you through 7 videos.
So
He takes you through and teaches very specifically every step he takes to hire his personal VAs.
I wish that would have been available 10 years ago when we started.
Yeah, that's so. There you go. It's probably the equivalent of whatever he had at that time.
Well, to answer your question specifically, I think the process usually starts with Erica identifying there's a need. Either someone else is, resigning, which we have a very low turnover. Occasionally, our most recent addition is we need someone to make sound files and a voice actress. We wanted a designated voice actress. So she says, well, hey, we need this position. And so we look at the budget and we allocate how much funds we have available for that, the range. And usually she'll go draft some sort of job posting on online jobs, and Jasmine will usually start proactively looking ahead of time for different qualified candidates and send that list over to Erica. Erica will then usually send them a request saying, hey, why don't you check us out? which one cool feature I like about online jobs is they have the save template. That's saved us so much time. So thank you, whoever designed that on the back end of online jobs. If you're sending out 50 of the same thing, you can save those as templates. So that's a very nice feature. Then we wait back for responses. We have developed an online application that asks the default things like, what's your computer specs? What is your, do you have a microphone? Are you okay to using remote monitoring? So all the basic stuff. From there, Erika will usually choose, I don't know, 4 or 5 applicants, and then she'll do the first interview, which is really the only interview. If she likes them, she'll pick 2 or 3 out of those, and then she'll do an interview with me, but I'm usually there just kind of as a formality. She's really seeing how good they interact with an English environment and a formal environment. And then from there, sometimes she asks me my opinion, sometimes she doesn't. Then she make a decision and then go on to onboard them. So, and then we have a streamlined process for onboarding.
Will you tell us about your onboarding process? It's such a delicate transition, or can be, to not overwhelm.
Erika, what's your secrets to onboarding?
I usually create them a company email so that
I found that that's something I started. I think giving a VA a company email makes them feel part of the company, and that's just a little thing. Even if they never use it, giving them a company email with their name at Brumicon.com, that in itself, I think I found, is one thing I think the VA
gives them
a
sense of belonging and permanence.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
so smart.
Yes. Well, we actually use Trello and Microsoft 365 to manage our projects. So I add them there, and I make them their own board so they can list there what needs to be done. Or sometimes I list there what needs to be done until they get comfortable with our system, with how we manage our projects, with how we send them things. That's where I let them go. Do your own thing. So
yeah, you let them do what you hired them to do. You kind of let them create their own. And that's got to be. Go ahead.
Something else, yeah. So Erika, one thing Erika brought to us, this was probably 6 months ago, she drafted a company policy that kind of just outlined things like our the dreaded 13-month payment, how we handle that, how we, we don't, there's different religions, of course, and we don't tolerate intolerant. Everyone's equal and all the different things that we expect. So one thing she does is she'll go over that, and then she'll have them sign it, scan it, and send it in. So I know Erika's, she's downplaying herself, but she's very, very efficient at that, very organized on that. So
what is your training process?
We don't usually give in-depth training, since for every roles in the company, they already know what to do with that. We just have to give, like, for our character designer. Okay, so this is the character that we want built. You just have to give him a specific, brief description of the character that you want made, and then you just submit me your output, and I will check if we are thinking the same, or we are imagining the same thing. Most of the time, that was it.
I think Erika spends a full day with each employee, walking them through how to use our system. So I think she trains with how to use the Microsoft 365.
Is there anything that hasn't been successful?
But as not being successful is, I think the onboarding process is probably the most important thing. I think when we first started out, we hired someone and we kind of just said, okay, well, let's do this, but we weren't clear on anything. So just taking the time to spend with them, I think, in the beginning, getting them to the point where they feel comfortable and what their expectations of them, and then letting them go versus just letting them go from the start.
So how many hours would you guess a week that you outsource just to Erika?
I can message Erika 24/7, and she's pretty good at saying "Opo," which is yes, sir. So usually she sends me a daily email with an ongoing. She keeps a running tally for the month of how many hours and what the current salary is for everything. Usually, I think in a given week, probably 500 hours, maybe.
Wow. The reason I ask is because you obviously only have so many hours a week on your own, Scott.
168 hours. Yep.
And you just turned yourself into 500 hours of work, essentially, by
Plus,
outsourcing. And so that's
absolutely.
plus, right?
Once you start down that path, you've hired a VA and you see, you get over the initial obstacles of, figuring them out, how this will work and finding your click there. Once you get past that, they become really addictive, because almost anything that you want, your time is valuable. What is your time worth to you? And if I can pay $4 an hour or whatever it is to have someone else who's got a college education, who's very committed, and they can do that for me, you know, that's freed up an hour for me. And what's that $3 or $4 that I'm giving that person? It becomes very addictive. It's kind of intoxicating, really, because
For you, about how many hours do you put in each week managing?
when you say
Manage.
managing, I don't really do any managing the company. I check in and chat with Erika just because I choose to, not because I have to. John, I think recently put out a new video about the 4 hours a week. That's probably, he's embellishing a little bit. You could probably do it 1 or 2 hours a week, really, especially when you get to the point where you can hire someone who's dedicated at managing the other employees. Like we have Erika. I wish I would have had an Erika years ago. I probably put 20 hours a week talking to Erika and annoying her. But no, it's fine.
But tell us about something that has not worked. Specifically, you mentioned a video that you tried as far as training goes at some point.
Oh yeah. So this was something we did way back before the operations manager. I found that I was spending a lot of time, managing the VAs. They were all doing great work, but I would hire someone in, and I didn't want to spend the full day with them on training, which I knew they needed. So I had tried creating a series of videos that basically walk them through how to use our different systems that we had and how to install this software and how to set things up. What I found was, first, I was very impersonal, and I think that we lost some good VAs because I just kind of dropped it on them, and they watched the video and they didn't have the ability to ask questions. So I learned along the line that it was, I think, important to, when you hire a VA, spend the time with them. You can't make them watch a video, no one can, I don't think.
What are some of your favorite ways to motivate and connect with your VAs? And
Last holiday, I think December, we gave away tea and hot chocolate to our team members. So sometimes, I'm drinking this hot tea.
So it turned out to be, let's send everyone basically a gift box. Earl Grey tea. I got all the female employees some perfume, I think, right? And then Bath and Body Works type stuff. And all the guys, like, I got some jerky, like anyways, we had these gift boxes, and she secretly sent them out to all the employees. So every one of the employees got like a secret gift box.
Well, and what a fun way to build company culture too, and togetherness.
We got Brumicon shirt. We got a whole bunch of swag. So Brumicon games. She went and had like some shirts made that said Brumicon. You got any of those pictures, Erika? You need to share those. But anyway, so yeah, about once a quarter. It's usually on a Friday. We'll pick a day, and it's required. All the employees are required to be there, like regular work day. But we'll just all log in, and we'll have like planned activities. The last one we had, I think we did murder mystery. We had the virtual escape rooms where we're all logged in, and we had to like solve the clues, and you could touch things, and so it kind of interacted together to different Filipinos. So it kind of just makes it fun, and everyone was, we had just a fun day. It was just a whole day about playing games and socializing.
Let's take a second to get technical. What software and systems do you use?
As a business owner, that's really, it's dynamic. That'll be changing probably even after this. Obviously, one thing I liked about the online jobs is they offer the remote management software, which is wonderful. I use that for the first 8 years, I think, of our business. Eventually, as our team grew larger and larger, we needed a few extra things. So we use WorkPulse. The advantages it has is it can track specific activity and then automate the process of adjusting hours. So if an employee decides to go on Facebook for 10, 15 minutes, or do something that's not work related, Erika can go there and actually program those so it flags it and auto adjust their hours if they go idle for 10, 15 minutes. About a year ago, we transitioned to the Microsoft 365. That makes sure every VA's got a legit copy of Microsoft Office. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. You
All right.
covered all the bases. So yeah, do you have any other questions for me or anything else that I could do for you?
I don't think so. Tell John to put a plug in for us. I like that.
Awesome.
Put a personal plug in for us. But other than that, we're good.
Okay, perfect. We'll see what we can do about that. And Erika, thank you for just
Thank you.
having the guts to be here and be vulnerable and answer honestly. That was fantastic.
Erika's awesome.
Thank you so much.
We'll let you get
Bye.
back to your life. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.